Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Well, today's chapters are Ezekiel 12 and 13. Now, remember, there were two major prophets during this period of Israel's history. Ezekiel was prophesying in Babylon. He had been taken off into exile, and Jeremiah was left behind in Jerusalem, and he was prophesying there. Now, both of them were prophesying that God was going to use Babylon to discipline Israel in waves of discipline. Now, there were also false prophets among them, and these false prophets were saying, nothing's going to go wrong. And so God addresses these false prophets today. So this is what Ezekiel 12 verse 2 says. They have eyes to see, but they do not see, and ears to hear, and they do not hear. For they are a rebellious people. They're choosing to listen to these false prophets. So what God tells Ezekiel to do is to go and enact a siege and an escape from Israel. So this is what he says. Take your stuff, pack it up as if you're going to run away on exile, and let people see you packing your belongings. Then go outside, dig a hole in your house, come back in again, and escape through that house and run off holding your rucksack with all your stuff as you run away. And then when the people ask you, what are you doing? Say to them, this is going to happen. The king is going to escape through the wall, and he's going to run away with his friends with him, but the Babylonians are going to hound them down. And this is the prophecy that he gives. He says, I will spread their net for him, and he will be caught in my snare. I will bring him to Babylonia, the land of the Chaldeans, but he will not see it, and there he will die. A most phenomenal prophecy, because history tells us that King Zedekiah and his officers escaped Jerusalem from the siege exactly like that. They were chased down, they were caught, the family was murdered. Zedekiah was brought back to Babylon. His eyes were gouged out, so he didn't actually even see the place of his captivity, and he died there in Babylon. And then this is what he says, and then they will know that I am the Lord. You see, in all this chastisement, this is what God's after, that they will know. And then this word, which we have over and over again in the book of Ezekiel, but I will spare a few of them. Those who are going to fear me, those who are going to listen to me. Not the stubborn people, not the deaf people that are not listening to my word. The word of the Lord came to me again and said, go and eat your food in front of everybody, but tremble while you're eating. So he had to act anxious while he was eating. And they're going to ask, what are you doing? And then say to them that this is what's going to happen. You're going to eat your food with anxiety, those in Jerusalem. So this prophecy of a prophet in Babylon telling the people in exile, this is what's going to happen to those who are still living in Jerusalem, thinking that everything is 100%. Now, he turns his attention in chapter 13 to the false prophets. He says, prophesy against the false prophets who prophesy out of their own imaginations. Their visions are false and their divinations are a lie. They will not belong to the council of my people, and they will not be listed among the prophets. These are not true prophets, because they lead the people astray. So then he says, go and find yourself a flimsy wall. A flimsy wall is covered in whitewash. Now, in this B&B of ours, this is the flimsiest wall that I can find. And it says, this is what's going to happen. Hailstones are going to come against this flimsy wall, and it's going to fall to the ground and collapse. And then they're going to know that I am the Lord. So basically saying all their lies, all their prophecies are like a flimsy wall that's going to come crashing down as persecution comes against them. And it's not just the false prophets, there is also these prophetesses. Well, they're normally, the word came to men who were prophets in the old days, but not only so. I mean, there were many prophets in the Bible who were legitimate prophets who were women. But these women, I think, had learned from the Babylonians as sorcery. They were putting charms on each other's wrists. They were making profit, making money out of the fear of the people, and saying this will protect you from evil. And he basically saying, these women, I'm going to tear the bangles off your arms. I'm going to bring you to naught. You cannot preach false words like this. God is basically saying, fear me, turn to me. Don't listen to the false prophets, the prophetesses, the sorcerers, because they're gonna speak nonsense, and they're not delaying anything. They're not representing me.